to look into the camera.
Okay, first of all, your name?
Right. Deidrea George.
Spell your first and last name?
D-E-I-D-R-E-A, George, G-E-O-R-G-E.
Okay, and tell me what the purpose of this meeting is today.
Well, this is the State Highway 105 Improvement Project, and it is a public meeting which basically allows the public to come out and learn a little bit more about the project, learn what's going on, ask questions, and submit comments about the project.
Now the comments, what happens with those once the comments are turned in? Yes,
So
okay. What happens with the comments?
The comments are very important, and I'm glad you asked that. They basically will go into public record. The public does have until December 15th to just basically give their what they feel about the project. Some of the comments that we have received, they're worried about the median, they're worried about the median cuts, and so those will be reviewed, and they will also be taken into consideration as we move forward with the project.
What is the purpose of the median and sidewalks? I mean, you never see anyone walking down all that.
Well, the median is part of it. It's just a safety issue. Anytime you have a median that is keeping traffic on one side of the road from crossing into the other, it's a safety issue. There were 14 fatalities between 2011 and 2014. One of them was in the urban area, the project limits, and 13 were in the rural area. So when you have medians, it helps just a little bit to keep those people on the other side of traffic should they attempt to cross over.
Okay. All right. Okay, first of all, your name?
Josh Montgomery.
Josh, and you're chief of cutting sheet.
Yes.
Tell me what's the proposal here, how it's going to affect you.
Well, with the raised medians, it's going to cause issues with the flow, being able to control flow of traffic during MVAs or fire responses that we have in our district, and also being able to access the incidents as they come in. So.
What about across front of your fire station? Looks like you've got a median there too.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's definitely going to be an access issue. Both of our fire stations right now have a proposed median in front of them. So
basically, it's going to have to go down the road, turn around, come back.
Yes, sir.
What about an accident scene? Say you've got 2 lanes eastbound, 2 lanes westbound. You get in an accident in the westbound lane. Car's already backed up behind it. You're going to have to basically shut down an eastbound lane to walk across the median, but now you've got an eastbound and westbound lane to shut down.
Yes, sir. Either that or shut everything down and have to counterflow back up the lane that is caught the wreck's in. And that's also a dangerous way to do business also. So.
Okay, Commissioner Judge Doyle. We've got that right again. Judge Doyle, tell me what you think about this, and what, I know it's needed, but is all of it needed?
Well, obviously it's a project that's long overdue. You know, the safety factor along 105 East out here has been an issue for a while. The growth that we're seeing across the county is driving the need for expansion of all of our major thoroughfares. And it's really exciting to see the numbers of people out here that are offering their input to Txdot on ideas and thoughts that are going into the project.
What do you think? How long do you think before this project actually gets groundbreaking? Do you think anything will happen anytime soon?
I hear the funding may come as early as late 2016, optimistically. I'd be surprised if it's that early, but the sooner the better, because as we're growing daily, accidents are occurring out here on a regular basis, so the sooner the better. It's a project that's long overdue.
What about the raised median issue?
The raised median issue is a concern. That's the one comment that I've heard consistently tonight from almost every resident I've talked to. You know, restricted access to businesses, to homes, to schools, to the fire stations is an issue. And so I'm glad to see the numbers of people that are here letting their voice be heard. I can promise you that Txdot will listen to those comments.
Okay. And your name one more time?
County Judge Craig Doyle.
Thanks. Bye. All right, first of all, your name?
Jason Millsaps.
Spell your last name, Jason.
M-I-L-L-S-A-P-S.
Tell me, you live out here. What do you think of this project?
30-year resident of Cut and Shoot.
What do you think of the project?
We need the road. We need the project to go in for increased traffic flow. We need the extra lanes to keep traffic from crossing over into each other. Unfortunately, the proposal is to put a raised median through the entire section of 105 from Conroe to Cleveland, forcing folks who live along 105 or do business along 105 to make unprotected U-turns in order to get into their residences or the businesses. Even worse, the city of Cut and Shoot, both of the volunteer fire department stations are cut off completely by these raised medians, where the traffic from the fire station will have to turn right and go down to a U-turn spot and U-turn to contra back left up to go east to Cleveland. That's going to increase response times. That's going to increase concerns, especially if it's a wreck on 105. The fire department will more than likely show up to the scene with traffic already backed up where they can't get to it, with no shoulder on both sides of the highway. The traffic can't get out of the fire truck's way. if we have a fire, they'll have to lay hose across all 4 lanes of traffic because they can't get in with their truck because of the raised median. I think Txdot needs to remove the raised median in order to provide adequate safety for the 4 lanes of traffic.
Now, Txdot's reasoning for the median is federal dollars.
Correct.
Where does federal dollars come in on something like that?
I've been following this project since '03 when they started talking to us about it. In 2003, there was never federal dollars proposed. As far as I have seen, even looking at the master plan that was published in 2012, there was no federal dollars listed on that project at all. It was all state tax dollars money, Txdot funding, and local county matching funds.
Now, we've got, since this last session, we've got some more funds for Txdot also.
Correct. The legislature appropriated a lot of funding for Txdot, including we just passed Proposition 7. The voters did. It's going to increase Txdot funding through a sales tax program. That funds will be available in about 3 years once the program takes effect. We passed Prop 1 last November, which infused Txdot with $2 billion. So the funding's there. We don't need a federal match in order to have strings attached to it for this or the 42 miles of sidewalk they propose to build.
Okay, you're looking at, they're just calling this a $160 million project. Federal usually does what, 10, 12%?
10 or 12%.
40 miles of sidewalk. Federal, they're saying the reason for the raised median and the sidewalks is because of federal grant. What would it possibly cost to put sidewalks and that in there? It's going to be more than the grant.
I haven't seen the proposal for how much those sidewalks are going to cost, but I would assume just on the number, it's a 5-foot wide sidewalk, 42 miles long, 21 miles on either side of the highway. I would assume it's going to cost right around the matching funds from the feds. So the federal dollars that are dictating these strings attached to it, the increased cost for the road is attached to those strings. The federal dollars aren't actually buying the project costs down to the Texas taxpayers. We're increasing the cost of the Texas taxpayers by having strings attached to those federal dollars.
All right.